Hello, and welcome to your appointment. I think we put a little bit too much weight on sleep. We all know how important it is to get a certain amount of rest, but I think that importance we put upon getting a good night's sleep can be anxiety-inducing in its own way. I think the best thing for restful sleep is to simply try to take one's mind off of the worries of the day. Though, with the way news cycles have been, it's almost hard to give ourselves permission to do so. Today, or rather tonight, I'm going to give you that permission. You and I are going to go to a cozy location, and you are going to find a gentle, blissful state of mind that will allow you to slip off to sleep. In order to do this, I will have to do a short induction. Why don't you take a seat among my coils and we can begin? Good. There you are. There you are. I've somewhat missed the weight of you in my coils, if I may admit that. But let us get you to a nice state of rest, shall we? I want you to take a big, deep breath for me. In and out. Find your own rhythm, inwards, holding, and exhaling. There is no predetermined rhythm for this. There is no predetermined way to breathe. Whatever relaxes you the most, settle into that mode and stay there. Very good. Very, very good. Now, I want you to look into my eyes. Hello. There's something so intimate about an induction. It is just you and me, a connection between us, my voice and nothing else. As you breathe, I want you to focus in on that voice, on my voice. If you get distracted or thoughts flit across the top of your mind, that is all right. Simply acknowledge them and let them flow down the river of consciousness. It is all right to have errant thoughts during this induction. It is all right to be distracted. Your mind is a part of you, and while at times it can feel out of your control, if it wants to think a thought, simply allow it to do so, and then return your focus to my voice. Very good. Very good. Now, I'm going to begin coiling you up. We're going to start with your feet. Feel a heavy, scaled, smooth weight sliding over your ankles, wrapping firmly, smoothly, snugly around them. Getting a grip on you, a grip I have enjoyed before and hope to enjoy many times again. Feel it slithering up and around your legs, your calves. Think of it as you and I checking in on your body. Feel the weight of me as it slithers up, and up. Just under your knees now, wrapping around those gently. The tip of my tail softly probing, gently rubbing here and there as we come up along your thighs and your hips, the thinner tip of my tail drawing longer and longer sections of my body, thicker and thicker, heavier and heavier, all around up to your tummy. Your arms are gently bound to your sides as I continue up and up and up. There are parts of ourselves we don't often think about. We spend so much time in our heads that we don't often think about our bodies as parts of us. We don't often feel their weight. We don't often imagine how it would feel to be touched by something. Now I want you to focus in on that touch, a weighted blanket of it, slowly winding you up, coming just under your pectorals as the sides of your arms become compressed in that coil cocoon. I can feel your breathing as mine begins to match it. We are in tandem, in twain. Very good, very good. Feel my coils slithering up and up over your shoulder now, gently combing over your collarbone to wind snugly around your neck, a soft, pleasant airplane pillow, gently cradling your cheeks as you are held here in this restful state. Now, as I have a grip on you, I want you to begin to imagine things for me. I want you to picture a light just above your head. Move it about a bit, hither and yon, forward and backwards. There is no correct way to do this. You are not being graded, and there is no judgment from me. So long as you are comfortable and enjoying the sound of my voice, that is the single and only thing that matters. As you try to imagine this light, I want you to imagine it slowly coming to the top of your head and gently filling you with a sort of warmth. Feel it filling you like my coils wrapped around you, from your feet to just below your cheeks. Feel that warmth coming up around you, filling you completely. A connection between us, a connection between the trance and the world. Very good, very good. With every breath, feel it fill you slightly more. A comfortable, cozy sort of sensation that swaddles you the way my coils hold you suspended in tender touches. Now, since we're comfortable and together, I want you to open not your eye, but your mind's eye. I want you to imagine a cozy place. You begin to hear the sound of a stream. The town we are going to is a place called Aromara. All around us there are houses as we enter the town. Each is done up in a Dutch style. Lots of wood, swooping terraces, and a general cozy vibe about the whole place. The streets are cobblestone, very pleasant to walk or slither over. Aromara is often called Candle Town by its residents, because all of its energies go towards the purpose of making these cozy accoutrements. All around us there is candlelight. The street lights are filled with small candles, each with its own scent. There are candles on windowsills and candles held in holders to chase away the dark. It is like a city of nightlights, each pinpoint of light chasing away the dark somewhat, a cozy comfort made manifest. You get the feeling in the air that there is some magic at play here. Not a single flame could harm a single person. You see that this place is of light, not of harm. There are no ashes, there is no smoke. There is only that gentle light and a million different scents. This magic seems to make it so that every scent has its own time to shine. They don't overly intermingle, and as we walk and slither, you smell something beyond smell. Each scent is almost like a memory all of its own. A fresh, earthy scent that makes you think of days spent at the park. A kind of spicy, interesting scent that makes you think of gatherings and togetherness. Each of these graces your nose as we go through Aromara. It is almost too much to take in, but in a gentle way, like being inundated with the softest blankets in the world. You want to stop at every shop and every corner, but we have a heading today. We are going to visit an old friend. Yuki is normally a resident of Kozari, but in the springtime, as the snow begins to melt, she comes to Aromara to get inspired for her art. She owns a candle shop on a corner. The street lamp illuminates the door, heavy wood and iron, sitting steadfastly and comfortably. As we slither forward, I raise my hand to knock. It only takes a moment before the door opens and you see the skunk's smiling face. She is as kind as the last time you encountered her, and she ushers you inside with a warm sway of her tail. The inside of her shop is just as candlelit as all of Aromara. Great beams of hardwood crisscross the ceiling, and there are great terraces and scaffolds over which her various possum assistants go. There are wicks hanging from their tails, which they turn to dunk into great vats of wax in many different colors. We follow behind Yuki as she takes us through her workshop. There are large tables on which various candles are being worked on. You can see the candle wicks being dipped again and again with gentle undulations of the possum's tails. Each time they come out of the wax, they're a little bit larger, a little bit bigger. When the possums are satisfied, they shift their weight and hold the candles in front of a fan to cool them just slightly, before occasionally dipping them into other colors. You wonder why this is before you come across a bear sitting on a stool. He has a whittling knife, and with cool, practiced fingers, he turns the still slightly warm candle in his hands, carving shapes and terraces. Upon cutting through one layer of wax, he reveals the color underneath, making glorious kaleidoscope patterns within. Yuki takes us to a cozy area in the back of the store, where many candles light the way. She sits down and offers you a seat across from her as she lights a candle in the center of the room. She says it is good to see you again, and she is so glad that you get to see this, Aromara. She often likes to stay here for a little while to refresh herself on her art. It is good to meet other enthusiasts and talk to them about all of the new things they are trying, the new techniques they are dealing in, and all of the new experiences they have had since she has seen them last. It has been a while since she's been able to come to Aromara, longer than she would have liked, but the wait was worth it to see all of their smiling faces and to spend a bit of time in one of her favorite places. There are few greater joys to her than reconnecting with old friends after a long period of time. She offers to let you sit next to her, and you accept. Her warm, motherly figure drapes your own as her tail curls around your back and into your lap, a heavy, weighted blanket heft. You lightly stroke her stripes as she asks you if you have any favorite scents. After Yuki has made a candle, she is able to reproduce any scent she has interacted with from the follicles on her tail. As you go over your favorite scents, she tries out a few on you. Peppermint, deep, slightly spicy, and refreshing. Bergamot, nostalgic, soothing. Chamomile, like a blanket, relaxing and warm. You go through several of these scents, inhaling deeply and feeling your relaxation begin to broaden as she offers you a cup of tea. Upon your agreeing, one of her possum assistants brings it. She says that his name is Mortimer, and he's one of the newer candle assistants here at her shop in Aromara. His enthusiastic demeanor is contagious. Several candle wicks sway from his tail as he gives you the cup in a saucer and asks if you'd like him to make you a candle to take home with you from this place. When you say yes, he asks you for your favorite scent, and upon telling him, he wanders off back into the shop to make your request as you look at your cup of tea. Whatever flavor of tea this is, the liquid is a sapphire blue. There are slight white speckles in the tea leaves that slightly swirl through it, making it look like a galaxy. It smells like every pleasant scent you've ever smelled, and also something else, something new and something old. You take a sip and you feel yourself filled with warmth. Yuki smiles and lets you enjoy her company for some time. I curl up on the side of you both, my tail gently curling around your ankle as we discuss with Yuki all the events of the year, sharing and reaching a nice, friendly catharsis with her as we enjoy our first stop here in Aromara. When it is finally time to leave, Mortimer comes up to you with a box. It has Yuki's logo on it, a black and white candle with a glowing flame atop of it. He says do not open or light the candle yet. There is a special place for doing that, which you will see at the end of our tour. Yuki gives you a hug, enfolding you in herself for just a moment, her warmth leaving its mark on you as you pull away and smile, knowing you will see her again someday. We wander back out into Aromara's fragrant streets. I slither forwards and offer to let you ride on my back, as the next trek is uphill slightly. You agree, climbing onto my broad, scaled back as I slither forward up the hill to our next location. Some of the houses and various living spaces are replaced by tall trees, the snow in them melting as spring begins to settle in earnest. There is what appears to be an observatory here, a massive building with a telescope that seems pointed downwards instead of upwards, which is curious. I go up to another one of Aromara's large hardwood doors and knock gently. There is a slightly flustered squeak behind it, and after some amount of shuffling, the door pulls open to reveal a bat with ears like sailboats and glasses like magnifiers. He smiles at both of us and bids us to come in. He says that his name is Filament, and he is the one who makes the wicks for Aromara. Inside his laboratory, you can see various lengths of various materials. Some of them, when lit, sparkle like miniature fireworks. Others produce brighter or softer flames. His workshop is slightly darker than Yuki's, but it is a comforting darkness. The shadows around the flickering candle flames seem as though they want to swathe you in a hug, rather than hide or obscure anything at all. He takes us to the top of this observatory above his lab, where the telescope sits. He says that he uses this telescope not to observe the stars, but to observe the town. He offers you the eyepiece, and you look through it. You can see far down the hill we climbed, and at the edge of Aromara's great township, there is a park. In this park sit more candles than you have ever seen. It is like a miniature galaxy all its own, the trees all swirled up in tiny pinpoints of light. You gasp in astonishment, and he tells you that this is Starlight Park. Every time someone comes to Aromara for the first time, they light a candle and leave it here, where, through Aromara's magic, it will burn always. He finds this thought comforting. There is something rather nice about leaving a memory from places you have visited, so that those who remain there can always think of you when they pass it. Each candle collects the favorite scent of a visitor and inspires new candles and new visitors. The scents are always evolving, always changing. Filament takes you back down to his workshop and shows you all of the different wicks he's working on. He explains that he doesn't make candles simply for their scents. He also makes them for safety. As a bat, he has been to some of the darkest places on Earth, caves so deep you could hear the Earth's heartbeat, forests so dark that even owls do not tread there. He goes to these places and he tries to figure out which wicks would work best. What would comfort not only those using the candle, but those who live in such places. He finds the warmth of such things is a comfort even in the darkest of times. He wants to make sure that no matter where anyone is, emotionally or physically, they can find a candle to light their way. This is Filament's quest, and he goes at it ardently. He smiles, seeing the box that you have from Yuki's shop, and says that at the end of your tour, you will go to Starlight Park and you will light that candle. The scent you have chosen will join the others who have visited this town, and you will leave your mark here for all to enjoy. Upon telling you this, his smile broadens slightly more, and he says not to worry, Yuki will give you a secondary candle to take home afterwards. You ask him what his favorite scent is. He answers that his favorite scent is geranium. It's an odd choice, as a lot of people simply say that it smells like soap, but to him, it smells like home. It is the scent his mother always wore, and to him it does not simply smell like some sort of dish liquid. To him it is deep, complicated, fresh, and new. He describes it as being a round sort of smell, the sort of smell that does indeed have a shape. It is always his favorite and his candle in Starlight Park, smells of geranium. As we spend more time with Filament, you find him a bit long-winded, but joyously so, comfortingly so. He enjoys his work so much that it's hard not to be interested, even when he begins to talk about the more scientific elements that go over, frankly, both of our heads. Still, you would never dare interrupt him, as to see someone so in their element is a joy all its own. As we leave Filament's observatory, he gives you a small vial of essential oil that smells of geranium. We slither back down the hill towards Aromara's heart, passing many shops and residents, waving in friendly commiseration with all of the people enjoying the town's general air. Our last stop on our tour is a massive warehouse, though perhaps that doesn't quite do it justice. It's quite close to the stream that runs through all of Aromara, a water wheel turning, providing energy for this where most of the supplies of Aromara are made. This time, I do not get the chance to knock on the door. It opens before my fist can make contact, and a massive creature stands there. His fur is salt and peppered, his ears tufted. His tail is a long, looping rope that curls at the end in a lollipop swirl. Before you can take in much more of his form, clad in an apron and flannel shirt, you find yourself pulled up into the longest, strongest hug you've had yet in Aromara. Upon realizing you're having slight trouble breathing, he puts you down and grins at you, apologetically. He says that his name is Elderberry and that he is a Binturong. He chuckles when you look a little confused and says not many people know what Binturongs are, but just imagine a fusion with a bear, a cat, and perhaps a bit of monkey for safe measure, and you've got the general idea. He ushers you in with a hand larger than a dinner plate and says welcome to his workshop. Inside, there are 1,000 things going on at once, each of them in its own quiet space of contemplation. Everything that Aromara needs in bulk is made here. You can see wax gently being made in a large boiling pot. You can see various oils being distilled. Thermometers, double boilers, scales, wooden spoons, scissors, parchment papers, small blades, oils for molds, and various other different candlemaking accoutrements are all being put together by all sorts of different species. While Elderberry is the head of the warehouse, he has his own particular specialty. He notices the small vial of oil that you've gotten from Filament and smiles. It's one of his. Elderberry is the main scientist that makes the essential oils for Aromara, the building blocks for every scent and every candle in town. He takes you back to a large laboratory full of looping vials, various beakers, and all sorts of things. You can see various jars labeled with various different scents. Jasmine, ylang ylang, eucalyptus, cypress, vanilla, cinnamon, cardamom. As you take deep lungfuls of air, each one captures a brand new scent, each clearer than perhaps its origin could ever produce. You also smell the slight scent of popcorn. Elderberry chuckles and apologizes. It is a natural scent that binturongs tend to have, and he hopes you do not mind it. You smile and assure him it is fine. He smiles back, one sharp tooth glinting in the gentle light of his workshop, and he asks if you would like to help him to distill an oil. When you say yes, he takes you back to a special area in the warehouse. This is full of green. Various herbs and plants grow here, the origin of many of his oils. The scent he's making today is lavender. The plant is purple and soft in your hands as he asks you to pick off some of the best stalks you can find. You select a few, and he takes you over to a large boiling pot, where you drop them in. There is a large wooden spoon, and he begins to turn it around and around. The oil that the lavender is immersed in begins to turn a gentle purple, and the smell of lavender fills the air. You smell it deeply, with deep, soft inhales, as the workshop begins to smell of that gentle, fabric-clean scent. He smiles and says you're a natural at this. He turns a spigot, and the oil begins to drip down a long, looping tube, where the pieces of the leaves and flowers are filtered out, leaving the oil all on its own to drip into a small vial, for use in various candles around Aromara. You ask Elderberry how he got started doing what he does, and he says that it took him a long time to find what his interest was. For most of his life, he simply did what he was supposed to do. He did the usual tracks, met the usual milestones, but when he was a fair bit older, heading towards middle age, he realized he wasn't quite happy. And while there was a voice in his head telling him it was too late to take up a new love, that he had missed his chance, he quieted those voices and threw himself fully and kindly into his work. He loved scents, and he'd always loved them, so he read up on them, watched videos, talked to people who liked such things, and he found in a matter of years he was toe-to-toe with the masters. He enjoys his life now, and he's so glad that he switched tracks. It's never too late to find a new love, as long as your heart beats. This is the advice he gives you before a new assistant comes into the room and says that his attention is needed. He pulls you up into another large hug, squeezing until there's slight joint popping, and then he puts you down and leaves. I smile and ask if you're ready to go to Starlight Park. When you nod, I offer you another ride on my back, and we slither out of Elderberry's warehouse and into the night of Aromara. As we begin to slither down the hill and farther away from Elderberry's warehouse, you begin to notice candles floating in the air, one, then two, then many. Amid the trees, the candles float like starlight, and it begins to feel as though we are slithering through space. The gentle rasp of my scales over cobblestones as we come to be in Starlight Park. Each candle has not just a scent, but a memory of a lovely time spent here in Aromara. There is a bench in the center of this park, amid the lush grass and gentle walkways. You settle there, and I settle next to you, my massive scales amassing around the bench in comfortable loops. You open the box that Yuki gave you to find a midnight blue candle of your chosen scent. There is no lighting device, but a handwritten card tells you that if you touch the wick, it will flare to life of its own accord. You do so, and your favorite scent fills the night air as you take a deep, gentle breath before softly exhaling. I smile as you, without being told, but somehow knowing this is what you should do, gently lift the candle. It floats up and away from your hands to join the starlit night here in Starlight Park. As we watch it float up, my tail begins to curl around you in a familiar, comfortable hold, swirling up, and up, past your knees, your chest, and your tummy, pinning your arms softly to your side before gently cradling your cheeks in softly scaled flesh. I smile at you as we enjoy our time in Starlight Park together. You can rest here as long as you want in this special place. Find all the respite you need and come back at any point to be energized by these scents, these memories, these presences, and your own presence here with me in Aromara. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. Rest now and be at ease.